They had been warned not to stage any protests when the Chinese premier visited Karnataka, and for the 40,000-odd Tibetan refugees in this southern state, this was their dramatic moment under the sun. The General Secretary of the Friends of Tibet, Tenzin Tsundue, on top of the Indian Institute of Science building, hoisting the Free Tibet banner in full glare of the international media.
I'm hoping that the verdict that will be passed today will be something positive. A verdict of clear acquittal case. It's now 2:15 in the afternoon. The verdict should come around 3 o'clock, and we'll get to know from my lawyer. It was unacceptable for me that the Chinese Prime Minister was coming and we were told not to protest, and the Indian police and authorities, they wanted us to keep silent. I went to the Indian Institute of Science, climbed up using the rainwater pipes coming right from the top of the building, down the wall of the building. I took a rest, and around 2 o'clock in the morning I emerged out of the building, got into the tower and climbed 4 floors, and from there I could see a balcony. So I emerged out of the balcony, and then I could see the entire Bangalore city in this majesticity. So I was there, I slept in the balcony, and in my entire 20-hour hiding up there, I didn't pee, there was nothing to eat, there was nothing to drink, I was just there lying flat. By around 2:30, there were a lot of noise on the ground. There were some dish antennas hooked on jeeps, what we call OV vans of media companies. So I thought this is the best moment. I immediately tied the red banner and let it go. And then I emerged out of the balcony and stood and immediately started to throw these Free Tibet literatures, shout Free Tibet. And there was no police. There were a lot of people with cameras on the ground looking at me. They were taking shots of me. So I kind of stepped onto the railing of the balcony and sat on it and did all the antics again. Free Tibet, China, get out of Tibet, Venjabao, you cannot silence us. And yet again, no police coming. People on the ground now, they started to ask questions. What is your name? So almost a kind of an interview is happening. So, and it was kind of, uneasy, or even looked ugly for me. Like you giving an interview from that kind of a height, you are protesting. And I was tired, and because I had not had water for almost about 20 hours, I was going hoarse. My voice was going hoarse. And then I could hear a click behind me. Someone just opened the door. So I kept on raising my hands like this, up. And they correctly grabbed my hands on both sides, and they pulled me over into the balcony. And they literally dragged me into the house, and they shut the door. And by the time I was inside, I raised my hand and said, "Mera kaam ho gaya hai. Now you can do your investigation." Basically saying my work is over and I will give full cooperation to you when you do your investigation, whatever. But the police, there were almost about 20 police. They were so angry with me. And they started to beat me. Sometimes there was no money. I didn't have money to go to Bangalore all the time. Fortunately, my friend Jagdish has been representing us. In fact, he has been kind of championing our legal case without charging a single money.
Police in India arrested 9 Tibetans, suspected of planning protests against Chinese Communist Party Chairman Xi Jinping. Police have not offered any evidence that those arrested were planning any criminal behavior. The most prominent among the named activists arrested is Tenzin Tsundue, a Tibetan poet and writer who regularly participates in activities bringing awareness to China's oppression of Tibetans and other ethnic minorities in the country.
We must protest wherever there is injustice. And as long as Tibet is not free, we must reach out to China that we are not happy with what you're doing in Tibet, and we protest this, but non-violently. And if we are creative in our ways of protesting, we can draw attention. Our attention is for the cause, not for ourselves. And because it's a non-violent protests, it should also become exemplary protest that anyone can do for whatever cause they are taking up.